What is up, amazing you? It's been a crazy year, right? Simply put, we didn't know if we'd be here. We didn't know if October 2nd would even happen, right? It's been heavy, right? God, I feel like I know heavy, huh? Don't you? We've all been carrying this around for a while, right? So I know what you're thinking. Why'd you bring the weight today? Well, we're going to talk about some heavy stuff. And I wanted you to know that I could take it, right? Heavy stuff is no big deal to me, right? Heavy stuff is just the way that I live my life, right? I'm just like, how can I help? Sarah C, here to help, right? But for real, we are going to talk about some very heavy stuff today. But I can handle it, and so can you. All right? So here's the real stuff. Let me just begin with the disclaimer. The stories that you're going to hear from me are real and true and painted in every color. These are your stories, my story, but more importantly, a new story that we're going to write together today. We're going to talk about some stuff that's going to feel super uncomfortable. I'm getting anxious right now because I know what's coming, right? We're going to be realer today than we ever thought we'd go. I've had this story on my heart for almost a decade. I told one person, and their reaction got me thinking that there was a bigger story here, that there was something that we had to be talking about, that there's something that people are ready to talk about, that these are the conversations that we must have, okay? So we gotta tell it. We gotta tell this story in big ways and in small. We gotta tell it in this room, around the water cooler, at church, anywhere that people are willing to listen, even when you think they're not listening. I can promise you this. I've talked about this before, right? No matter how much I absolutely shook people, they were touched by this. And they're out there telling this just like you're going to, okay? I'll tell you up front, it doesn't take anybody special to talk about this, okay? I've never been paid to research this stuff. I'm not sure I could stomach working in this field. Now that I got your attention, we're going to talk about child sexual abuse. And check it out. I hope I've gotten it all wrong, okay? I hope that this never happens. I hope it's not happening, but we know that it is, right? We know that it happens. We know that there are children every day who are currently victims of, or at risk to be victims of, brutal child sexual abuse, okay? But I'm going to offer you a different perspective. You've heard all the perspectives, right? Let's lock them up. How can we punish them? You've heard it all. But today is where we're going to talk about a new perspective. You've heard how we get victims to change and say things and do things. But never mind them and them. It's us, right? If victims and predators never change a thing, okay? Bear with me. This is the best part, right? And this is why you're going to watch till the end. Because I've got the answer for if victims and predators never change a thing, we as society have the power to eradicate child sexual abuse, right? If victims and predators never change a thing, we as society today, right now, starting when you hit stop on this video, we will eradicate child sexual abuse. Relish that, right? Imagine that. By the end of this speech, you will have the insight and the knowledge to see this from a different lens. We will absolutely remove our stigma of silence from this world. And I promise you, you will have a fire in your belly. You will understand why I waited 10 years until the right moment to release this video. Because I've said it to people and they've responded, but it's scary for me to do this, right? To imagine how everybody might respond to the lady who wants to talk about the people who touch the kids, right? They don't know what to do with me. And that's the reminder for you. That you don't have to be special. You don't have to have special accreditations to save your kids, right? To do something, to say something. When this is finished, you will have this fire in your belly to do something. So take notes, okay? Flip to that page with my picture in your booklet. Okay, get ready to write. Get a pen, stand by the wall, destroy to make this possible if you have to. Or just like open your phone and pull the notes up, the app up and just make your notes there, okay? Write what you want to remember. Write the things that blow your mind that I'm saying. Write your story on that page. Because it's going to be your story that's going to make this. What's it going to be? Because your story, there's a lot to sort out. It's not easy when we start with your story, but your story is going to be what they listen to, okay? I know you've already heard the studies. They've explained that the brains of pedophiles are wired differently than non-pedophiles, with a misfiring of the pleasure sensors of their brain. It isn't that simple. I'm getting, with TED Talk, we gotta keep it real, we gotta get through this real fast and all that. But people, humans, with a misfiring of a pleasure sensor in their brain that is pedophilia, okay? Now, many people are raised in super healthy environments where they know that relationships with children are wrong, right? They have this baseline for understanding that this attraction is not something that society is going to support because they've had relationships all around them that have made that clear, that have kept healthy boundaries, that have pointed out odd or perverse or confusing thoughts or actions, okay? Maybe they just have normal lives, grow up to marry somebody who looks childlike or acts childlike. But imagine if they were not raised in a healthy environment, right? Between the internet and society and the mixed messages that we feel as parents we don't have any control over, and the complicated life, and they go to school and she's got that best friend with that earring and she dyes her hair, and the world feels really complicated when you're trying to protect children. So imagine these kids, these people, these humans growing up in that, growing up with these feelings and not being told what's appropriate and with whom appropriate relationships should take place and at what age and what that looks like. And worse yet, what if they are abused? People, humans, and then somebody changed that. That first experience didn't keep them in bounds, didn't give them a baseline. And that was taken from them too. You can see how all bets are off, right? How will they ever have a baseline for what's healthy in society if that is where it begins and ends, right? How do you become aroused by what's appropriate if you grew up with child abuse in your life, in your family, within society? I could bore you with statistics, or we could argue about them. But the bottom line is, the prevalence of pedophilia in society, we don't know, right? We don't know how many pedophiles exist in the general population of society. Mostly because people don't get caught. But from all of the studies that we've seen, it seems to point to right under 5% of adult males. Right under 5% of adult males. And we don't even know how many women there are, mostly because society is pretty quick to ignore it. And women have an extraordinary opportunity to be alone with women because of the nature of the maternal relationship. So this is where we start to spin out, right? I know more than 20 men. I know so many women, right? Your heart sunk, right? You have more than 20 male followers on your Facebook page. You've got countless number of women that you're friends with in real life. Child sexual predators live in connection with everybody and everybody's child. People, humans, right? I don't know if that's the statistic that's stirred in me all this time. If that was the piece that I always felt like I was going to be able to solve with this, that people are going to be around you, that you're going to know a lot of people, that if we live this life right, we're going to know everybody. But we have to live safe lives. They have to live safe lives. Our children deserve safe lives, right? I promised you it was gonna be heavy. But here's my promise, right? And it's just this simple. Here's this trust part where I gotta get you to say this before I even tell you how you're gonna do it. Say it with me. Not my child, not our children, right? I wanna hear you where you're at, weirding people out with your headphones on the bus, right? Not my child, not our children. There's some people in here, they got to say it too, I'm gonna make them, right? Not my child, not our children, not my child, not our children. It's that simple. It'll never happen in front of you. It'll never happen around you. It'll never happen in places that you allow your children to congregate. Could you do it? Could we do it? Could I promise you that right now? You be the judge, right? Hear me out. I said I was going to need your trust, right? That you just said that they probably heard you say that. You made the promise to them, not me, okay? This is where we get weird. I'm going to talk to you about how these folks, these predators, these child sexual predators, pedophiles, child abusers, people you know, get away with it, okay? Before we unpack how we're going to change things, I need to make sure that you get it. Let's begin with a super uncomfortable story, okay? Now, predators generally have a type, right? Based upon age, body type. Oftentimes, it really has far more to do with availability and access to children than anything. But maybe this predator has a taste for young toddlers because they can't say anything or 6 to 8-year-olds because they're curious, or 12 and 13-year-olds because of their developing bodies. Heightened senses and awareness that these children are on their radar, right? But it's availability that creates the opportunity. So here's an example, right? Obviously, all names are changed. So Jack is a pedophile who has an attraction to 8-year-old girls. And his daughter is 8 years old at the time. Now, Jack was abused as a child. And so he had a very firm reserve to never, under any circumstances, abuse his child. But now she's 8 and her friends are 8. And he's got 8-year-olds in his house. And he's got 8-year-olds around him. And this is what he'd do. Wait for all those kids to go to sleep and pick his favorite. Pull her out of bed and abuse her. And that's like crazy and horrific. And I'm trying to find words that are like not cuss words right now. But the crazy part, this was the part that as I'm watching this video and Jack tell this story, I'm going, whoa, this is crazy. I can't believe, and he's pretty graphic about how he gets away with it and what happened in that moment. But it was the grooming and the manipulation of the conversation that he explains with the mother. He's quick to walk out that front door, he says, and catch her at the car and say, hey, I did everything to make sure you're sweet Susie, sorry to everybody called Susie, your sweet Susie had a crazy dream last night. Oh, it was just nuts. She was flailing. She wet the bed all over the sleeping bag, and I had to get her out of there and get her, got her in my bed and washed her clothes and changed the bedding. And I don't know what she was dreaming about, but it was crazy. So then on that car ride home, when Susie's trying to tell mom what Jack did, what's mom say? It was a crazy dream. It was a crazy dream. Susie sat in the courtroom and was questioned about her crazy dream. Jack's in prison and Susie's at her house still trying to figure out if Jack's in jail over a crazy dream. And so Jack told his story, right? Gave Susie, with her ever-loving struggle, probably after that, the opportunity to at least know that it wasn't a crazy dream, right? So this helps you understand how people get away with it, right? This helps you understand that isn't smoke. It's fire we have to find. When she says, and they don't want to talk, it's weird. It's weird. 10 years ago, people be like, why is your homegirl smelling? You'll have a nose for this now. Maybe it's BS, maybe it's manipulation, maybe it's somebody abusing a child somewhere. In the worst case, like the worst case is they may be a little weirded out. I weird people out sometimes, right? That's the worst case. I'm going to give you one last stomach turner. You're like, come on, you led with the Jack story. We can't take it, but like one last stomach turner. And then I promise you, the mountains that we are climbing right now will absolutely pay off with a view. I'm not the first to tell you, but I hope that you listen this time. Your pictures are not safe on the internet. Somebody already said that. They already put that in like a class on a blog about how not to get your kids stolen and stuff. But for real though, your pictures are not safe on the internet. And where you post them doesn't matter, right? It can be on your team's YouTube channel. It can be on your private Facebook page. It can be on your school website. Everybody has access to this. It's on the internet. Now, let's be clear. If you would comfortably pass that photo, the one you're about to hit post on, if you would pass that photo around a room of strangers that you now know, if we've got over 100 adult men in the room, we may have several that are going to look at that picture and see something that's not nurturing. Feel something that's not nurturing, that's not healthy. So before you hit post, think about that photo. Oh, he's cute, he's fully dressed, great, post it, right? Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not here to judge. I got plenty of pictures of my kids on the internet. But before you post one more photo of the naked child, one more photo of the child in the bathtub, one more photo, or 37 photos of a child in the same bathing suit, of the same child, think about the ammunition, because this is what's happening, right? We're starting to see these Netflix specials. We're starting to read these things. Like, the world is already talking about this. There was a reason why I was supposed to wait to say these things, because it had to be the right time, because predators got a network too. In group text messages, DMs, sure, websites and the like, they're sharing this stuff. And there it is, your photos, available for download, even being sold. Because they got a whole folder of valuable pictures of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed child that fits the hashtag that works for them. They're going in the comments of your YouTube video and they're tagging each other. And they're doing weird hashtags that you don't understand. It doesn't matter, it's all comments. Everyone's just listening, right? And they're sending people to 2 minutes and 36 seconds so that they can see your child's body manipulated into the sexual hashtag that they follow. It's a bummer too, because some of these predators even have Facebook groups. I've wondered sometimes before I've reported them if I had joined them, the group, with the wrong premise, because they're there to protect children. And then I began to read these threads and they're all saying, go look at this. I can't believe they would post a picture of their child naked. Go and report it. And when I clicked on it, I'd seen 10 people's comments and they're weighing in. But when I reported it, it was deleted. This was like just in the last few months. This was the point where the weight, I like always like, it's like, oh, it's just 25 pounds. Like, people just curl this and stuff. Like, it's like the weight of like what I had to say became real. When somebody had added me to this group, bless her heart, because they knew I had, you know, the passion or whatever, the stomach or for this. And it made me realize how prevalent it really is. So why are you giving away all those pictures? It's ammunition for this thing, right? The world is changing as we know it. Will we wear the masks for? I don't know, right? But we're going far more digital. You're seeing me. You probably don't even know follow me, but you probably don't even know me, right? And you're listening to this video and you have access to this and you're bored and we're posting more and more pictures of the kids and the stuff that we're doing to stay connected. And we gotta be real careful with those. So please frame them, carry them around on your phone, send them to people that have been around your children plenty of times and never led you to have any concern, okay? This is just the starting line of the question that we as society revisit again and again. How do they get away with it? The simple answer, we let them. Now, just about all of the circumstances include some kind of grooming. Not only grooming the child, but the adults, like we've seen. Maybe they're spanking your baby's butt as they walk by and trying to gauge your reaction. Maybe they invite your child on outings or dates alone. All the while, they're watching, trying to make your life easier, to see where their opportunities will begin and how many more opportunities they will have as their trust grows, and even what they may share with other people in their network. Right? Oh. Yikes. All I can think is I just wish I had some essential oils that I could diffuse. I had to just say that so that we can absolutely move on, okay? Commit with me right now to watching this video all the way to the end because we've turned that corner, okay? How does this work, right? Now that we have our pens in hand, right? Now that I've got this fire, now that you're all uncomfortable, now that you've got this little bit of hope, what do? What do you do, right? You tell everyone you know, especially the ones that concern you, right? And it's actually more simple than you think. You see someone, they're playing with your child, they're wrestling around, there's that smoke, right? They're a little uncomfortable. Should I say something? Are they gonna be offended? Are they gonna weird it out? Is it gonna be... And you just say something. Hey guys, stop the game, time out real quick. I'm gonna have you guys find something else to do because while you were playing, wrestling around, rolling around, hands were landing in some places that you may not realize. I saw some hands on thighs, inside of thighs, right? And then you look right at the person that concerns you and you say, we don't do that. That's not an appropriate place for you to touch on them, even by accident, or when you're having fun, or when you're playing around, or if they're okay with it. When you're older, you'll understand, and in the meantime, find something else to do. Because there are people out there that will try to touch kids in those areas, and we need them and you and the whole environment to not be desensitized to that. We need to make sure that everybody responds in a way that's shock and discomfort and fixing it. Because there are some adults and older kids out there who do need help, who do need to talk to a professional. But in the meantime, my job is to make sure not my child and not our children. This will never happen around me. So that's a cool example that I gave you, right? Something easy that you can do when a couple of kids, maybe an older kid with your child is messing around, joking around. But what do? What if it's someone that you don't feel comfortable talking about it with, educating? Hopefully after today, I've given you enough that we don't even have to have this conversation. But I remember when I first learned all of this that was my face, just like yours is. But you're behind a mask. That was my face too. And it was hard to know what to say. I'm going to use an example from when I felt like I didn't have a voice for this thing. We're at a family party. There's a guy there who's dating somebody who I respect very much. And he pulls my oldest daughter, who's very, very young at the time, into his lap. There's that smoke thing, my mom radar, whatever you want to call it, kind of starts. I'm watching his hands. They're in places that I'm not comfortable. And I did what you can do if you're not sure. Easiest, make an excuse to pick up your child. Get him back into your safe arms, right? When you tell all of your friends that you do trust about this, make a safe word. Should we have peanut butter and black grape jelly sandwiches? Something bizarre that you'd never say. And as soon as I say it to my best friend, her eyes are on my children too. And we're both looking for excuses to remove children from the situation. And if something's happened, call the authorities. I can't handle this by myself. You can't handle this by yourself. This is professional level. I'm not even a professional, you guys. I just care. And I decided that in my own hometown, in my own home, at the things I sign my kids up for, that it's not going to happen. And it's that simple. They say the length of a minute depends on which side of the bathroom door you're on. I can imagine the eternity that 1 minute feels like while you're being abused. Try something with me. I want to test that minute. I want to test you for a minute. I want to watch this video analytics and see all of you can hold out for that minute. We yield 1 minute of our time in honor of every child that has ever had to feel that 1 minute. More importantly, we yield 1 minute now so that our great-grandchildren will never have to give it. Silence, please. This drowning feeling, a desperate feeling for that minute to be over. And nobody's coming. And they're not stopping. I hope that lit your fire, man. Ooh. Ugh, but I hope that you didn't spend even a second of it angry. Because here's where that's wasted, in my opinion. I hear people talking about what they do to child molesters, right? Beat them up, do what they did to the kid, lock them up, throw away the key. And that stuff happens. But remember that promise? They're not not going to change anything, right? That's the plan. We're not counting on the victims and the abusers to change stuff so that we can all go back to scrolling. Because locking them up or shutting them up, it isn't going to change anything. Imagine if for every dollar we write our checks for and mail to the prisons to keep them locked tight. Imagine if we lick the stamp on 50 cents of that and we opened our wallets and we poured that money into prevention. We give them the voice. We find ours, right? Not my child. Not our children either. We might actually do this in our lifetime, okay? You hear me say it. I hope this is the last time. Remember, if they don't change, we still can, right? We can do this. You and me and her and him, and tell your mom I said what's up. She can come too, okay? We can do this. Except I feel your hesitation. I feel the energy in the room. And when I pointed at you, I realize you got a story too. And it plays somewhere on mute all the time. And I've stirred that up, right? And I'm trying to empower you. I'm trying to tell you how we're going to do this. Sit tight. Sit tight. Because the answer cannot simply be for us just to tell our stories. That's just the beginning. The binding of the story is that safe environment. And the shelf that we put it on that is so respected. Honoring that this is a topic that everybody can talk about, even if you weren't abused. You don't hold a bigger weight than that guy because you were. We're all in this. This movement can't be just in our heads. It has to be a family effort, supported by a community, honored by society, and welcomed as a planet. Our work is not done because we survived it. Our scars are our call to action. I hear the internet murmuring already, right? Ugh, I'm not a Rachel. I can't speak my mind. I can't talk to strangers on this ridiculous topic. Oh gosh, I'm more of a Monica. Yeah, more of like a organizer, something that maybe I could help with, or stamp envelopes or something like that, because I don't like to say the uncomfortable stuff, and I'm not sure that I could find the right words. Do you have anything like that for me? All right, Monica. Matter of fact, I do. Your job is to be the eyes and ears of this operation, because I know you're organized and you got those eyes like a hawk. And we're gonna need your big mouth, but it'll be different for you. When you go into a situation where children are present, you will be hypersensitive to the places in that physical environment where children can be abused. So you're walking into school, if they ever go back, You're walking into school on that first day with your kids and you're looking around that classroom and you see that safe corner where the kids can go and calm down or time out or whatever they call it. And maybe it's hidden behind a bookshelf or a half wall. You explain to that teacher, every area of the classroom should be visible from the classroom door. We don't want areas like these to attract people or troublemakers, adults or children, who see that as an area where they don't have supervision, and then physically change it. I've literally not been afraid to start, you can carry it, grab the other side, and you just start moving it. And maybe you made them a little uncomfortable. But no kid will ever be abused there again, ever. Am I right? Can you do that for me, Monica? Because me and the other Rachels are going to be shouting this from a mountaintop for the next few years. And everything's going to be different. And you saying that and asking people to move things is going to be common space. And if you're not sure if somebody's like going to be weirded out by you, share this video with them, right? Give them this insight of why you see that room different than they do. Why you can smell smoke better than any one of your friends. I mean, we might actually do this. Like, we might actually do this in our lifetime. I mean, I've got hopes of teaching children this too, and they will take it to their children. But we could do this, right? It's going to take you too, Phoebe. See, I know you're quiet back there. I used to be a Phoebe too, right? Can only see the best in people, right? You don't want to make anybody uncomfortable for the sake of anything. Your reaction, your action is the most important. Because your reaction is the baseline of society. And whether or not you're able to tell people to change things with Monica, or to get up at your podium, up on the soapbox, at your club meetings, at church, like Rachel, your job's really on the front lines. Right now, it might be the most important job. And it's twofold. Number one, how you respond, most people will respond. So if you're hearing this and you're saying, no, can't be those guys. I'm begging you. You'll share this video with anybody that you wish you could talk to about it. You'll share this video once a year for every child you love. And when people ask you what not our children means, you'll find the words. And you're gonna have to prove it. Because the second thing that we need you to do is to stop weighing in, is to shut up. Okay. When you see it on the news or you hear about it out in the community, you don't weigh in. I don't care if you know the victim and or the abusers. You make the commitment right now to never weigh in outside of a courtroom or the like. Because someone's listening. And that little boy, that little girl, they're deciding today who they can share their story with. And when you're busy talking about what the outfit must have looked like, or how that preacher or politician is so kind, he would have never touched a soul. Come on. Whatever you have to say on Facebook to your friends won't change them. So instead, find something PC, like, considering current events, I have decided to share this video again. Because whether you think he did it or not changes nothing, except whether or not they'll ever tell you. So you got to be the first to sign the pledge. You have to stop this video. I give you full permission. There's nothing left here. And go to notourchildren.com. Traditional spelling, notourchildren.com. Because Phoebe, you will be the first to sign a powerful pledge that 50 million of my friends are gonna sign. Because today it starts. Because now's the time. Because you've been waiting for something to get behind. My name is Noelle-Carpenter, and this is your story to share now.